create legacy of impact and income through the channel of entrepreneurship and do more good in the world. You will get access to all our amazing speakers today and walk away with great wisdom and inspiration so that you can level up yourself and your business to the next level. All right, everybody, welcome back to another event here at the Life School. I'm so excited to be back with you with another amazing panel of discussions and conversations. These conversations are obviously meant to educate, inspire, but of course, entertain you as you are also leveling up for the new year and scaling at the next level. So before I bring my amazing guest speakers today that are going to join me in this panel, I want to remind you that the Life School helps purpose-driven leaders to build a legacy company that does good in the world through the operations of branding, marketing, sales, systems, and team. Our vision is to empower purpose-driven business leaders to use their life's purpose through legacy entrepreneurship. And then our mission is to become the most impactful global community in purposeful entrepreneurship. And then lastly, our values are community connection, service, and contribution. So without further ado, I would love to bring my amazing guest speakers on stage, and I will start with Zofia. Zofia does amazing work, and I was recently very honored to be part of her amazing podcast. So, Zofia, thank you so much for coming back here at the Life School, and looking forward to getting to know you a little bit better here today, and just asking you some insightful questions around the amazing work that you're doing out there in the world. So if you'd like to share with us a few of the most meaningful moments that led you to the work you're doing today, that way we can discover some of the purpose behind the work that you are doing every day.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm delighted to be here, and I will try to keep it short because I know you have amazing people on here with me as well. My backstory is kind of long, but I can sum it up by saying that I was a scientist who went into the Fortune 500. I did quite well at a Fortune 100 bank, and then I got extremely sick to the point that I could have died. And I had a spiritual awakening around that dark night of the soul. And I've spent the last 12 years roughly uh, helping people with the spiritual side of life. And then a year or so ago, I pivoted because I kept getting this message that it was time for me to bring all of me to the table, not just the woo side, but also the scientist and the Fortune 500 manager, and being a woman who's worked in primarily male-dominated industries all of my life until I went into the woo side of things, I've got a depth of knowledge to bring around that. And I've discovered that I have a passion for helping women close that wage gap. Because as much as there's been a lot of equal opportunity stuff going on, and yes, you have to pay the same salary at, the same position, the patriarchy is not just out there, it's also between our ears. We absorb these patriarchy lessons from our earliest breaths, and we are taught things like you have to show people that you deserve the money before you ask for it, which is the reverse of what the guys do. And so, of course, we're always behind the wage curve because we've been trained to not do the things we need to do to be able to keep up with the guys.
Yeah, absolutely. That's such an important topic. But I also love your background, and I can so resonate to a lot of the corporate structured, that kind of world, and also the woo-woo world that you called it, or the spiritual side, or the personal growth, or a lot of those other intuition, other abilities that we all have as humans, and especially as women, since we're speaking about women. That we just we all have discovered, and once we understand that these exist, then we try to align both of those so that we live a life that's actually fulfilling for us, right? And we're not
Exactly
achieving things based on lack or kind of not good enoughness kind of state. So I love that you touched on the topic of the value that sometimes we as women don't see in ourselves, because maybe a lot of the things that we do come so naturally for us, or maybe because we're in these nurturing roles, or I don't know what it is. But I also see it in my work with helping women entrepreneurs grow their companies, that we have so much limitations around negotiating, for the result that we're able to provide, or the value that we get to add to our clients. So what are
Well,
some of those things that you have seen, Sophia, with your work or your approach to helping your clients, process wise or implementation wise, that you can also share with us, that I think would add a lot of value for the women listening, but also the male counterparts as well?
yes, yes. I love that you brought up negotiation, actually, because this is one thing that women need to do more of, but it's also kind of a sociocultural trap, if you will. When it comes to negotiation, uh, when we're offered a job, we being human beings, there are different things that happen when it's presented to a woman versus presented to a man. When it's presented to a man, his first response is to go, "That's fabulous. What I had more in mind was," and he opens up his negotiation uh, situation. With women, okay, there is a trap around this. If we were to take that job and go, "Oh, I'm so grateful," okay, which is the typical thing, "I'm so grateful that you chose me. I will validate your confidence in me, and I will show you my value, and looking forward to that raise in a year," to get what she wants. Um, Now it'd be easy to say, "Okay, well, I'll just do like the guys and go, 'That's nice. I'm very pleased that you chose me. Now here's what I'm really thinking.'" And what happens when you step into it in that way is there are certain sociocultural norms that go click in the other person's mind, and they categorize you in ways that will be career limiting for you and may actually result in the rescission of that offer. So what you need to do is to couch this negotiation as something that is beneficial to the whole, to a group of people, to your coworkers, to other women, to your employer itself. Um, oh, what's her name? Sharon Sandra. She was with Zuckerberg for a long time. Forget her name, but she wrote a book called Lean In, and she opened her negotiation with him by saying, "All right, I'm grateful that you've chose me for this position, and because this position is for negotiation, I would be doing both of us a disservice if I did not negotiate this offer that you've extended to me." And now she's gotten over that social hurdle. She made it about a benefit to the employer pursuing this negotiation, and that allows her now to go get what she deserves. So that's my thoughts on negotiation. These are some of the things that I work with clients on when they come to me. I do, generally speaking, very bespoke work. It's one-on-one, it's according to what the client needs in that moment. And so whether it's that they're in a process of finding a new place to express themselves because the old place is hostile, or if it's about, "You know what, I can't bring myself to do something as confrontational as negotiate." Or it might be, "I've gotten to such an extreme in my life that I've shut down my emotions. I No one finds me warm and fuzzy anymore, and it's starting to hurt my relationships at home and socially, and I'm starting to feel extremely isolated." We I help people work through all of those situations. And I don't know. Where did everybody go? So that's a little bit about the work that I'm doing in the world right now, because I'm very passionate about closing that pay gap that exists between women and men. Right. Let's see. What else can I share with you guys today? I Hello?
Wanted to
Oh,
jump in. So this is
great.
Michelle here, and I just wanted to jump in because I'm curious if it's different if you're interviewing with a man or a woman.
That is a really super
'Cause I'm a
question.
business owner and I interview.
Absolutely, and you'd like to think, right, that if you're talking to a woman, you're in a better position. And they did a study, a hiring study, it was a few years back, Stanford or Harvard or somebody, name escapes me. But the basics of the study were they created 2 identical resumes. They put Michael at the top of one and they put Michelle at the top of the other. Other than that, all the salient facts are the same, and presented them to a number of hiring managers, some male, some female. And would you know, the women were actually harsher on holding that standard of judging that Michael is more qualified than Michelle, which was really kind of unsettling for me, right? So yeah, that's an interesting thing. So women are not automatically, unfortunately, your allies in this quest, because much of the patriarchy sits in our subconscious minds. And as women, we judge other women more harshly than we would judge men. And so it does, unfortunately, not necessarily benefit you that you're sitting across the table from a woman. Now, if she's done a lot of work, that's a different situation.
Sophia, thank you so much. My internet came out, so I'm like, oh my
Oh,
Jesus.
is that what happened? I'm like, it's like the whole universe disappeared.
And I am sure you just went on sharing amazing wisdom around this the very important topics. Thank you so much for what you just did. I'll go back and listen to that because I missed the whole part, unfortunately. But I'm sure the audience actually listened, and I love that all the rest of the panel participated in such a great conversation. So thank you so much, Sophia. I'll come back to you at the end as well as I introduce Michelle next. So Michelle, with the author path, with the amazing work that she does there with the author path. So Michelle, thank you so much for coming on, and also looking forward to getting to know you a little bit better as well. If you could share some of the most meaningful moments that led you to the journey of the work that you do.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, it's amazing, and to just kind of add on to what's already been shared, women often have a difficult time really sharing their voices at the highest level. And so through my own journey of learning how to do that, right, because it all starts with ourselves, and coaching clients, I have found a way to help women really step into who they are, what they want to say, what their message is, in very much alignment with their purpose, maybe their passion, but definitely their mission in this world. Most of us have some sort of mission that may not be at the forefront, but we know we want to help the planet, humanity, children, the elderly, our family, homelessness. Like most women tap into something, right? Trauma, healing, whatever it might be. And so I have used my own journey. I also was someone that was almost on death's door, not quite, but had a whole personal epiphany. And I think women tend to use health and healing as one of the ways to step into who they are. And so as a result of all my personal work in this, I created a system where women can really share who they are, what they're here to do, who they want to become, and share their message in the world. And I use writing and publishing as the modality to get there. I own a publishing company. I coach lots of women through writing their story, helping themselves, lots of businesses through using a book as a tool to help them share their voice, share their message, and their businesses out in the world.
Yeah, I love the channel that you help women discover their purpose, but share their message with the world as well, as you shared there for sure. And based on your methodology or framework, Michelle, what are some of those things that somebody that is thinking of sharing their message with the world beyond what they've already done in putting that in actual and in a book, what is that process that you help your clients with? And also my other question is around the marketing piece. So how do we now put this book in the hands of more people based on the audience that so that it can impact more people?
Well, the first thing is it's not only women, but men as well, believe it or not, are full of head trash when we try to Right. Our story is our book. We have so much going on in our head, so much self-sabotage, self-doubt. And this is across the board, women and men, get it. Where you write, you feel so confident about what it is you're writing, what you want to say. Excuse me. And then you start second guessing yourself. Is that really what I want to say? Who's going to read this? What if nobody reads it? What if everybody reads it, right? We go through all this self-doubt in our heads. And so my first step in the process is just to go through step by step what it is you want to say. And in the process of me coaching you through that, you're going to internally up level. You will internally get really clear about what you want to say, what you want to put out into the world, and what you're willing to put your stake in the sand on and say, this is what I believe, this is what I know to be true, this is my message. And so that's the whole first step, is guiding people through getting rid of self-sabotage, self-doubt, and also really tuning into which piece, because we're all full, huge dimensional people. We have lots to share, lots of stories. Which pieces of those should really go into a book? Which pieces of those are pertinent to your audience, your future reader, and who you will become as a process of writing this book, right? What are you stepping into? So that's the first piece. The second piece is marketing, and that's huge. There's a lot of ways to market a book. You can go to book signings, you can do conferences, you can speak, you can do podcasting, you can do social media, you can do Amazon ads, you can do TikTok, right? There's so many things, and it depends on each person. I like to work individually with the authors to help them create a platform that is congruous with who they are, their strengths, their wishes, right? Not so there's two things. Not everybody wants to be on social media all the time, and that's okay. And is choosing one platform on social media going to be a great stretch for you to be able to move into the next energetic space in your life to help you really move to where you want to go? So we have to balance both of those things. What do I want to do? What do I like? And what's going to be a great stretch for me where I'm willing to push through to get to the next level. And so I work with each author individually. There is no one right answer. I wish there was.
Yeah, I love that. Of course, because it is a very authentic process as well. And that actually is my next question for you, Michelle. Based on if someone wants to use their book with the main purpose of building authority and thought leadership in their space,
Right.
Is there advice or steps that you can maybe share with us that they can implement, or what should they maybe focus on as the purpose of the writing of that specific book?
So I take people through a process. What does their future reader really want to know? So we're back at some really early sales training that probably we've all had. You find out what they want, you tell them that, and then you give them what they need. And so part of it is the same in a book. What do your readers want? Not from who you are today, but the person that you become after you write the book. When you have written a book, who have you become? And then what do those future readers want from you? And so I really tap into what your future reader wants, who you will become, who those people are, right? And then totally you use it for lead gen. So here's the interesting thing. I've written 5 books. I have a TEDx talk. I've been on stages, done lots of stuff. Most people are like, oh my gosh, you have a TEDx talk. You've written 5 books. That's amazing. Let me hire you. And they never read the books or watch the TEDx talk. So there is one piece that just having done it gives you credibility and authority, just because you've done it, because they're not easy things to do, right? And then the next piece is, if somebody does read one of my books or go to my TEDx or whatever, are they getting information that resonates with them? And that's what needs to go in the book to be able to help establish yourself as a thought leader in your space. And you have to be true to yourself first and true to the future self that you are becoming. So
Thank you so much, Michelle. I love that. Yeah, absolutely. You have to know what you stand for and what is the actual work that you want to get known for out there in the world. That helps you also then understand who is it that this book can impact or help, right? So that helps you know the audience.
And it's okay to get it wrong. It's okay to get it wrong. It's okay to like publish a book and go, oh my gosh, I've changed so much in the last few years, the process of this. I now have a new, that's okay. It's we think we want to set out our lives and all our goals, and we know life doesn't work like that, right? So things change and evolve, and you write the book and you're proud of it, and then you go do the next project.
Yeah, and I like that piece too, because we evolve and grow as well. And sometimes it blocks a lot of people from getting started. You can always go back and update your manuscript, right? I mean, there's nothing is ever
or publish the next book, or do another book, or do a podcast, right? What the next thing is.
Yeah. Great stuff. It's all channels, right? It's all channels to be able to create impact for all of us. Book writing is that legacy product. I always call it that. And I've written many as well. And yeah, I think it's just to be able to just give that book out to somebody and someone reads it in their own intimate time and connects their own dots in their journey. I think at the end of the day, that's what it does. Just like a good movie, a good documentary, right? People will see themselves through your journey and through what you share. So it's really powerful. Thank you again, Michelle, for all the
honor to be here.
In the world. Beautiful, beautiful. Moving on to my next guest panel speaker today, I would love to introduce you to Lynette LaRoche. I hope I said your last name correctly, Lynette. Thank you so much for coming on. And the same question for you as we get to know you a little bit better.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Yes, my name is Lynette LaRoche, and I am a life architect. I mainly work with women, midlife women, who have come to this point in their lives where they have faced a major life transition, whether it be divorce or they're going through an empty nest. Maybe they've had financial distress or some other area in their lives where they got to this midlife point and they feel completely stuck. And then they come to this realization that they're not living the life that they thought or they dreamed they would have when they were younger. And I am the poster child for my own business because I have gone through many life transitions, and even most recently. And so the main thing and area in where I work with women is really getting into the narrative of their story, really working through the point of self-compassion, and so that they can get to the point of acceptance when they see what these experiences that they have gone through, how it has shaped them, and what can they take from this for the point of exploration and rediscovering who they really are now in this phase of their lives. You know, working with them to overcome the stuckness, because that is such a place where now, God, I'm 52. How can I start over again? And like for me, I mean, most people don't see me as being 60, but I have gone through, I'm telling you, a lot of these things that I work with clients on. And you get to this point where, am I too old to start over? Like, where do I begin? And they get to this point of stagnation. They're so unfulfilled in their lives. And I come in there and I'm helping them to break out of this stuckness and to let them see what the possibilities are. Because it's only at this point of when you're able to release all of the what I like to call is like the mind saboteurs that so many of us have been able to acquire over our lifetimes, is with the use of my practice of positive intelligence, is to figure out what it is that's holding them back in their lives, what got them into this point of where they put themselves at the back burner and they prioritize everyone else. And so now that they have this point in their lives where, wow, I never thought about me. What do I want? Because they put it all on the shelf. And so it's about getting into that person and digging in and like, God, what did I wanted to do when I was a girl of 8? And what about 13? And I remember for myself. Oh, at 8, oh, I was going to conquer the world. I was going to be like an astronaut and all of these things. And I was going to be a gymnast and all of these things. And then I fell into this life of safety. And that's another thing is so many of us, we're at midlife and we want to continue being safe, but there is no adventure, there is no growth in safety. And I also work with women of getting out of this place of, wow, I have to have this, this parachute that's gonna, keep the wind underneath me so that I don't, fall through. And it's really about finding that strength in yourself that we know is really there inside of all of us. And I just work with them on this path, creating the blueprint. What do you want your anterooms to look like? What is it that you want in your life? And so we map it all out, using the tools. I'm also a certified hypnotherapist. So whether I use hypnotherapy, the 4 areas of transformation, I bring in all of these modalities together to really provide this really great support for the women that I work with so that they can reinvent the life that is more amazing than they have ever dreamed ever before.
Yeah, Lynette, I love the work you do because we could consciously choose to be the architects of our lives at any point in time, right? There's no specific, age, or there's no specific achievement period, or there's no specific anything, right? We get to choose consciously what is it that, just like you said, architect it as a home, right? You have the rooms, you have the focus, you have your vision, you have your mission in life, and at different purposes and steps in the journey, you get to constantly choose a new thing, and you get to change your mind as well. I think you also very, very beautifully articulated a lot of the pain points that a woman might go through as far as staying in the comfort zone, security, safety, right? All those things that I can also absolutely resonate with. I always say that I stayed 5 years too long where I was because of that fear of being able to architect my life. And it's this work is so needed. Because a lot of the times, we have all those subconscious or programming that holds us back from really pursuing passions that we may be, just like you said, that or talents or things that I was attracted to when I was a child. Now I'm going back and re-exploring a lot of that. And I also believe that it's all connected to our purpose, because why would I be attracted to a certain thing and not someone else, right? So paying attention to all these different dynamics. And I love that you also have the methodology of, you said hypnosis. You're trained on that specific area as well?
Yeah, I'm a hypnotherapist as well. And one of the other things that I work with a lot of these women on is because so many of them have let their physical selves go. So I'm also a certified health coach. And I, because they feel like they can't fight with the outdated beauty standards that's out there. And so I also help them, to reimagine and to revision themselves, as this beautiful being and someone who still has sensual appeal and magnetism and all of that, because that's really important to your confidence, is to feel that you are embraced in who you are. And so many have let themselves go because, again, they've been taking care of others instead of themselves. And then they don't feel like they can fight this industry that sort of caters to the young. And so I help them to, again, it's all about, mindset resetting and remapping to get them to let go of these beliefs that have been pummeled into them over these years of their lives, and help them to reclaim their physical selves, their physical bodies, and to see that it is our temple and that it's going to carry us for the rest of these next 40, 50 years.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful work for sure. I mean, it seems to me that all roads lead to Rome. Somehow you're helping them uncover the journey to self-love, to themselves.
Yes.
I think that's always the ultimate goal. Sometimes we go about it with so many different ways, and it shows up for us in our body image, in the thoughts we think and all these different things. But I think once we really understand how to do that process and as we keep evolving, learn how to continue to do that process, because I don't think it's a one and done kind of type of deal.
Absolutely.
I've asked for that many times. So I'm like, I learned all the stuff. Leave me alone now. I don't want to grow.
It's evolution.
But yeah, it's the process of evolution, which is why it's so important to have people like you and all the amazing panel speakers here, really truly purpose driven to me, because when you're purpose driven, you're very clear on your purpose and you're helping other people and you're doing more good in the world, because that woman that refines herself now, she get to create magic out there in the world, create impact, build a business, build an empire, build whatever, right? So I think it's just we're all interconnected anyway. So just very, very inspiring. Thank you so much for all the amazing work that you're doing out there. I'll come back to you at the end, Lynette, and all my amazing speakers. I'll come back to them for a final message at the end. And also you'll find ways to continue this conversation. We just got it started, right? One of our values is connection. So definitely connect with one another, find ways to explore synergies for collaboration, nurturing relationships, because at the end of the day, for me, I think that's at the bedrock of everything we do. It's always about the relationships that we get to build as we go through the journey together. So thanks again. And I would love to invite you, or introduce you, so to speak, to another amazing speaker, Jerry Feta. Jerry, thank you so much. First time here at the Live School. Looking forward to getting to know you a little bit better as well. And if you could share the same thing with us, a few of the most meaningful moments that led you to this work that you're doing today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I just want to acknowledge everyone that spoke so far. Amazing messages and purposes. So I've loved hearing about what you guys do. So I am the founder and CEO of a company called Wealth Dynamics, right? And we deal with finances. We work with entrepreneurs, families, individuals, and the focus is to help more good people on this planet, the well-intentioned individuals, create more wealth and make the world a better place. And I have this vision of that because I believe the only time that things get weird on planet Earth is when the opposite happens, right? We've all seen The Simpsons, Mr. Burns, right? The bad guy who's always trying to take over the world. That's kind of the impression, right, that we have of what wealthy people might look like. And this is one of those things that I believe if we reverse the tide and more good people learn about finances and learn about how to build wealth, we really do have the resources to, back a lot of these really high purpose things that we want to accomplish on this planet. Right. So my story is I started out, at the age of 18 as a financial advisor. And my mom was my first client. Right. And for all the supportive moms out there, I want to give a shout out there. Right. And so I was learning the industry because I grew up in lower income, America. I was a food stamps kid, free lunches at school. I remember seeing a bug crawl through my Raisin Bran and being told, eat it anyways. You're lucky to have that. Right. So that was kind of my lifestyle. I didn't have any semblance of what financial success looked like. And so the result of that early in my life was I decided, okay, well, the way I'm going to learn about this is I'm going to do it as a profession. And I started learning about investing and paying off debt. And I started to realize that a lot of this stuff was very simple. And it's things that I had seen if my parents knew this, our lives would have been very different. Right. And it wasn't super complicated, even though it was made out to be. Right. Kind of like Lynette had mentioned about the health, same thing. It's very basic things. And a lot of times we get these, words we don't understand and very complex ideas and plans. And it's like, hey, go to the gym and eat less than you burned and you'll be okay. Drink lots of water and take your vitamins. Same thing with finances, where it's like there's these very basic principles. So I started working in this stuff. And as I started to, get, more progress, part of my story is that my mom, at age 59 and a half, she was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. For those of you that know, 59 and a half is when you're allowed to start taking money out of your retirement plans and really using the nest egg that you've built up. Right. And so on two fronts, as a financial advisor, I looked at a client. My mom was my client. And I said, wow, this did not work out the way I planned. Right. The big plan kind of unraveled right in front of me. And as a son, I looked at this and I said, I never want to have this happen to me. I wish it didn't happen to my mom. I don't want to have it happen to my loved ones. And I noticed that there was this kind of dichotomy with the traditional financial world of we want to, defer everything till we're 60 and we want to build up this nest egg. But at the same time, we don't want to outlive the money. Right. That's the number one fear of anyone that's getting close to retirement is outliving the money they've built up. Right. And kind of a morbid twist on how that's worded is you're almost hoping you die before the money runs out. I don't think that that's a purpose-based life. Put it all off to your 60 and then hope you die before the money runs out. On the other side of it, you don't want to live too short. Right. And that's what happened with my mom. And so I started studying, the top 1% of wealth historically, because I was seeing some of these things don't make sense. And I wanted to find out what do the Rockefellers do and what do the Carnegies do and what do the JP Morgans of the world do. And I spent about 10 years researching and studying and working on how all of this fits together. And what I came up with was the number one common denominator was that these wealthy families and individuals, they run their family's wealth like a business, right?
Mhm.
And I share that because I know that there are a lot of entrepreneurs probably listening today that we're learning to run our businesses like a business at some varying level. I started as a bootstrapper from the ground up, no education or anything on business. So there was a lot of failure and messes and trying to figure it out. And you just bit by bit continue persisting and making progress. And eventually you start to get organized and you start to run your business like a true enterprise. And I think that the thing I want to share today for everyone that's watching or listening is we want to run our finances the same way, right? And there's four main barriers that really stop someone from doing that. The first one is mindset, right? And there's been some talk about mindset already. It's such an important thing. This is the mental conditioning, the programming, the ideas we have, the decisions we've made, oftentimes uninspected, right? We've not looked at where did we get these things from? You know, where did the people we got them from get them from? Are they workable? Are they things that actually will produce the results we want with our finances? So we end up with these ideas like, you know, money can't buy you happiness, or, you know, money can make you an evil person, or, you know, it doesn't grow on trees, which in fact it's made of paper, so it does. And we end up with these mindset things. And so the first thing that we want to tackle is that mindset. Right. I think the second thing that we want to tackle, the second barrier to really winning with finances, is having the right financial education. Right. And the problem here is a lot of what's packaged as financial education in today's world is actually just marketing. It's just marketing from financial institutions, banks and Wall Street, that they want more deposits and more fees and more commissions. And we see it all over the news, all over the movies, right? The stuff that happens when we give our money to these guys. Right. And so we have to step outside of that and really look at, well, what is really true about money and what do I observe for myself? And that takes study, and it takes studying those that have actually produced the results we want with our own finances. Right. The next one really is the behavior. Right. When we have, you know, problems with mindset, problems with education, that leads to then problems with behavior. And I think one of the most underrated things in today's day and age, because we're so focused on some really cool things with AI and automation and stuff, human behavior, like the habit building process, is the GOAT of automation, greatest of all time, right? You can automate a behavior in your world, in your mind, where you don't have to think about it and it's second nature. And if you can do that with finances, a lot of this stuff becomes easy because you don't need to think about it, right? But that takes repetition and consistency. So there's a lot of top 1% behaviors that come into play as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, that, you know, just like in my company, there's certain things I would always do. Every day I'm going to do these things, no matter what. I don't have to talk myself into it. I don't need to think about it. I just know if I want a successful business, I need to do X, Y, and Z no matter what. Right? So those behavior barriers really come in. And then the one that's a really big one that I want to cover, because I think it ties in the most today, is the misalignment of your money with your life goals and purposes, right? And this starts way, way back when we're kids, right? No one ever told me that when I was going to school, the purpose of that was to get good grades so that I could eventually go to college, so that I could eventually get a degree, so that I could eventually get a career, so that I could eventually earn income. Right? The point of going to school was getting skills where I could earn income. I didn't know that. And then because I didn't know that, I was never taught, well, what's the purpose of income? Right? You've got this tool, you've got this energy in your life. You get to use it for whatever you want. It's your creation, it's your resource. What do you want to do with your life? And I never had that taught to me as a kid going through school, or as a kid getting a brand new job, or growing as an adult into my career fields. And I think a lot of us miss that conversation. Right. And the result of that is this idea that we're going to, you know, trade the next, 40 years to life sentence of our lives, trading time for money, doing something we don't really love, hoping we set aside just enough to pay off the house and pay off the car and turn 60 and then die before the money runs out. And I don't think that that's life. Right. And so I think the key here is really aligning, what do I do? My business, my job, my career, is that aligned with my purpose? Right. And then once I get the money from the thing that I do, are those actions also aligned with my purpose? Am I flowing those resources towards things that matter? And here's the biggest misalignment. And I think this is where this myth comes from of the wealthy, are this evil group and they control the world and all this stuff. If you're not aligning your money with your goals and purposes in life at the beginning, when you get enough to invest, you're also not going to be aligned. I can't tell you how many people they invest simply for a rate of return, and they don't think about, what am I funding? Right? Am I funding things that I don't believe in, that I don't think are ethical, that aren't doing good for the planet? Or am I intentionally backing and investing ventures? I was on a call yesterday with a partnership that we're working that's putting blockchain behind sourceable organic food. So when you go to the grocery store, there's a QR code, and on the blockchain, you can see what farm that food came from, that it was grown sustainably, it's truly organic, and that it's good for people and it's good for the planet. Right? That's something I can get behind as an investor. And so I want to build up to that part of being able to invest, but also keep that purpose in line. So when I'm doing that, I'm doing it in a way that makes this planet a better place. Right? So that's a bit about me, a bit about what I do. And really those are the 4 pillars I would say for everyone to focus on today: is the mindset, the education, the behaviors, and then really aligning the goals and purposes with what you're doing in your business and what you're doing with your finances once you get the finance from the business.
Powerful work, Jerry. You burned my question because you already so eloquently shared so much great information around the methodology that you use and also the lessons you've learned along the journey of building wealth. And I love that you mentioned that build your wealth like a business, because just like anything, there's a process to get a certain result, right? So those systems and habits, the things that we implement are going to get us to, be purposeful with the wealth that we're building. And I love the questions that you intentionally asked too, because none of us actually question a lot of these things. Like, what is the purpose of going to school? What's the purpose of me learning? How do I intentionally build skills? What is that thing that's going to give me the highest ROI for my time, energy, and all of these different things? And we don't always question them. We just kind of follow along different models that we were served with. And so going in, just like any area of life, you do wealth, I do, business. Michelle, helps people with their book writing, like all the different components of all the work that we all do. I think it all goes back to with those deep intentional questions around like, what is the main purpose around whatever area is it that you're trying to improve? So I absolutely, it's like a full circle moment for me as you were speaking. So thank you so much again for what you just shared as well, and for the amazing work you're doing out there in the world. And I'll definitely come back to you for a final question and for ways for the audience to further connect. And then moving forward to my last 2 amazing speakers for today, was Whistling Rosier. Whistling, I promised that I would try to the name, but welcome, and looking forward to having you also introduce yourself a little bit to us so that we get behind your purpose and why you do the work that you're doing.
Hello everyone. So my name is Isaline, but that's fine. Even if you butcher it, that's completely okay. I'm a former corporate project manager turned time management coach and business coach. So basically what I do is I help women become full-time and profitable entrepreneur working only 25 hours a week. Because one thing that I realize when it's come to time, when it's come to productivity in business, is that women think that they cannot have it all. They think that whether they get the time freedom, whether they get the money, but they cannot have both. So basically what I'm teaching them is that I'm teaching them how to build like a 25-hour work week that is really working for them, that is working for their business, that is working for their life. Because a lot of women, they have kids, they might maybe need to take care of their parents, they have a lot of hobbies, they want to actually live life as not just working. And also what we do is that I teach them how to pick the best sales strategy that is working for them. Because a lot of women who are starting their business, sometimes they feel that they are really salesy when it's come to actually getting client, and not all the sales strategy are actually the right strategy for you personality, for you value, for the way that you want to actually run your business. So we're working a lot on defining the best time management strategy for you, the best sales strategy. And also one thing that we're really focusing on, and I know that a big struggle when it comes to women, is consistently taking action. Procrastination in business is a big thing, and that's the main reason why a lot of people are not achieving their goal. And the reason why people are procrastinating, you might have the mindset, first of all, because you might not know it, but the mindset is playing a lot of a big role when it's come to actually taking action. Because all of your belief, everything that you believe, everything that you are thinking on a daily basis is driving your action, whether you want it or not. So if you are not conscious of what you are thinking, you will not actually take the action that you want in your business. But not only, a lot of women are not actually focusing on the right thing in their business to make money. That's why a lot of women are not succeeding to make money in the first few years, is because they're trying to do all the things, to implement all the strategy, and they basically sometimes don't have goals, or they have goals but they don't know how to actually translate their big goal into actually daily actions that they're gonna do and they're going to focus on. So yeah, that's pretty much what I do.
Yeah, I love what you do because we share that love language for systems, processes, and also operations, which could be so much smoother once you actually understand the bigger picture. Talking about purpose today, right? So, what is the main purpose of the vision and mission? And what are those activities that are going to move you further faster as you are very intentional? Because we all know about the 80-20% rule, right? Just because we're busy doesn't mean that we're moving the right things along. But sometimes the lack of the awareness of the big picture activities based on the phase and stage of their business growth is actually what I also see as a big gap for a lot of entrepreneurs. So your work is absolutely amazing. And who doesn't want to work obviously on purpose? Because most of us got into this journey or channel of entrepreneurship. I don't know what to call it, for freedom, right? For freedom of time, for freedom to choose the work we do in the world, and for freedom of spending time, quality time, and to travel mostly, right? So I think absolutely. And you're even more efficient when you are and productive when you get to be very intentional with your time. So you're not risking burnout, right? Because I agree, 25 hours a week working on the right activities will absolutely get you to achieve a lot of amazing things out there. So yeah, Rosaline, your work is amazing. Thank you again so much for sharing that. And I'll definitely come back to you at the end as I introduce my last but not least speaker for the day, Catherine O'Leary. Catherine, thank you so much for being here. Also looking forward to getting to know you a little bit better as well.
Excellent. Well, thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm Catherine O'Leary. I'm known as the Quiz Queen, and I help coaches, podcasters, and broadcasters to get more clients, keep them longer, and monetize their audiences because they're sick and tired of dealing with unqualified leads, stagnant sales, and really endlessly chasing those new clients around. So I help them attract their ideal clients, increase sales, and boost that client lifetime value all through asking questions and being curious. So all through quiz funnels. I'm all about client attraction and client attraction systems as opposed to lead generation, because you can attract a lot of leads, but if they're not qualified, you can spend a lot of time with those people trying to find the nuggets, if you will.
Love that work. And yeah, definitely alignment with what we're talking about, working on purpose today and being very intentional with our activities, whether it's our personal life or our professional, which in our case is businesses, because we all business owners. So Catherine, what can you share with us around your methodology or education? What is it that we need to know around the specific way that you approach really being very intentional with reaching the high value clients that value our work, but also can receive amazing transformations from us?
Yeah, I think the conversation is switching from a very let's meet and immediately give me your credit card kind of thing. It feels a little bit like proposing marriage on the first date when we first meet a client, because we automatically go into a sales mode, and that's kind of shifting. And I think that starting a conversation, and the best way to start conversations is through questions about what your ideal client is looking for, what they're challenged with, what they're running into, what they've tried, and then moving forward, how can you help them and how can you meet them where they're at? And you can do a lot of that through just asking some simple questions. It doesn't have to take a long time, but getting super clear on what your ideal clients, I call it the 3 a.m. question, what they're kind of waking up worried about or desiring when it comes to the solutions that you provide in their language, because oftentimes we talk in our language when we're on the other side of the problem, but keeping it to what are they really concerned about, what do they wake up worrying about, and then meeting them where they're at in that conversation, so that we can really help them along. And if it's us that is their person, and the solution for them, then we can invite them to the next, the next conversation, the webinar, the masterclass, the sales conversation, whatever that looks like. But it's not so abrupt as, oh, you have this problem? That's great. I have a solution. Because not all solutions are made equally.
Yeah, no, I love that. And we can't skip the process of nurturing relationships, building the know, like, and trust, right? And being very intentional with that. I think it will take you very far, right? Because at the end of the day, you can have the best solution. Sometimes I have to do that, similarly in the process of when I first meet someone, because it's like, oh my gosh, I can solve your problem. But then again, you have to be mindful around building know, like, and trust and adding value first, right? And not going in for the ask, because if you haven't done the steps beforehand, then obviously just how I think about any new connection that I have. I mean, maybe you have an amazing solution to the problem that I'm looking to solve, but I don't know you. I don't know if I can trust you yet, right? So it's just looking at things from the other perspective helps a lot. Absolutely. Just, working with each other as human to human rather than kind of just client to, I don't know, business owner. Sometimes when we put on those hats or roles, we just kind of lose sight of the very natural process of just, being there for one another and supporting one another. Quizzes. Why specifically quizzes? What is the intention behind you choosing to focus on quizzes? What are the benefits of quizzes? And, how is it that quizzes or implementation of that can really help us, I guess, understand who is ready to, to be able to receive a solution to our problem or the problem that we actually solve?
Yeah, great question. So I spent 30 years in corporate in market research and consumer insights. So I have asked globally thousands of questions to thousands of consumers, and always with the intention of using that information and those insights to create new products, marketing messaging, or sales conversations with entrepreneurs, and with specifically with coaches, podcasters, and broadcasters. Now, I like to use those same techniques to start conversations around, okay, you're having this problem, or you're trying to find solutions to this one particular area of your business or your life, or whatever it is that as a business you're helping people with. Engage the right people at the right time with the right questions, and you're going to be able to shorten your sales cycles and make sure you're actually talking to your ideal client when they're ready for you. So when I first started out, I was doing a lot of sales calls and paid advertising that really didn't go anywhere because I wasn't talking to the right people. I was talking to leads that weren't necessarily qualified. So what I like about quizzes is that they can be fun, they can be engaging. If people don't finish them or don't take them, that's awesome, because they're not your people, and they're free to continue their search for their next best solution. So that's why I like quizzes in particular for client attraction, and then there's a whole host of benefits on the other side for client retention as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, looking forward to learning more about that. I think that's very insightful as well, because just like anything, if it's not fun, it's the wrong thing. So you must have fun first, and then obviously you'll attract that. Or if that is a value for you, I think that also showcase, kind of is projected in all the stuff that we do, our brand, our messaging, everything else. So it's all connected. Thank you so much, Catherine, for sharing what you just did. And I would love to now go back, actually, as we wrap up this event, to all my amazing speakers. And I have one question for all of you. What is your vision for impact for 2024? And also, where is it that the audience can further continue this conversation? So I'll go back to Sophia.
I have to find my mute button here. My vision for impact in 2024. There's always like a core and then ripples that come out from that. And for 2024, I'd like to touch a core of 25 business leaders. Okay. And that has obviously a ripple effect to everyone who's on their team, in their businesses, in contact with their businesses, to begin this shift of bringing women into the same sort of earning categories as men currently dominate.
Beautiful vision for impact. And where is it the audience can continue the conversation with you? And also, I know you have a podcast, so you feel free to mention that.
Beautiful. I do have a podcast. It goes live on Mondays at 3 p.m. Pacific time. They changed it on me. And you can find that at sovereignself.live. And the archives are also there. If you go out there right now, you will see that. The best way to move forward with me is to actually schedule a coffee chat. And that's a no pressure conversation about where you're at and how you can move forward. And you can find that at bookzophiacoffeechat.com. That's BOOKZOFIA coffeechat.com.
Thank you so much, Zofia. I know something will be very valuable for my audience. You had a quiz to discover your talent or gift. Can you share that?
Yes, your superpower. You can find out your number one spiritual superpower at superpowerquiz.us.
All right. Thank you so much, Sophia. Beautiful work. Michelle.
Hi, thank you so much. So I have several visions. I have a really big vision to help disrupt the distribution industry and publishing because it's very gatekept. And so I have some ideas I'm working on. But on a more immediate level, I'm going to take 5 business owners through a very high level process to write, publish, and market their books and transform their platform in a new way out there. And this is a very high level program, and I'm enrolling into that right now. People can find me at theauthorpath.com and come into one of my writing programs or my free programs. I also have a quiz. I'm going to go check out Quiz Queen now, see if I can do that better. But I do have all kinds of free stuff over at the Author Path, as well as various levels of writing, publishing, and marketing your book. So thank you so much for having me on today.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing that and the ways to be of additional resource besides what you've just shared so far today, which has been very, very helpful from everyone. I'd like to go to Lynette next.
Great, thank you. So for me, for 2024 is about just really bringing George Eliot's quote to life for many women is it's never too late to be who you really can be or who you want to be. And so this year I would like to impact a minimum of 500 women to go out there and reclaim the life that they've always dreamed that they wanted to have for themselves. And so I can be reached at Rise Reevent with Lynette, and that's LYNNETTE.com. And I'm also starting a new podcast that's launching next month, and it's Rise Reevent Raw, where real as women are going to come together and discuss some of the challenges that they have faced in their lives and been able to rise and re-event into the life that they've always dreamed. So thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. Great vision for impact. Thank you so much for sharing. Jerry.
Yeah, thank you so much again for having me on. My vision for this year is we have a program called the Big 3 Challenge. And so we currently are doing this with our clients in the United States, and we just also started with a group in London, and we're working in Central America as well. But it's based on spending 10 minutes a day learning about finances, doing one thing to earn extra income, so the key is extra, and then also having good control and organization on your finances and doing that every day for 90 days. Right? It takes a minimum of 66 days to build a habit. So 90 should get you there. If you miss it, you restart, right? So it's kind of this fun game we're going through. And I would like to have 500 people through that. And that's going to be a big ripple effect and a big impact for entrepreneurs and families everywhere. If you want to connect with me, I have my book, actually. It's called Blueprint to Financial Freedom. And so you can grab a free chapter of that if you go to jerryfetta.com/free chapter. My last name is like the cheese with 2 T's, FETTA. So jerryfetta.com/free chapter, and you can grab that.
All right, beautiful. And don't worry, I will tag all the amazing speakers today and all their amazing links to be able to continue the conversation. Also, really take advantage of the resources they're sharing. Sounds like a great challenge. Thank you so much, Jerry, for sharing that. And I'd like to move on to Iseline.
Yeah, so for me, so of course, in addition to changing woman life, my big goal for this year is actually to connect with people, because that's the way that you are actually changing life, by getting connection, by getting to know them. So if you want to reach out, just follow me on LinkedIn and let me know where you're at in your business, and let's get to know each other.
Beautiful. And lastly, Catherine.
Yeah, so thank you for having me on. My big impact, or my big vision for 2024, is really similar to Iseline, is connection and captivating, and just really moving businesses forward, as you know, as a lot of businesses struggle in this kind of economy. So really helping them out to make sure that they're maximizing their time and their resources. And if anyone wants to know if a quiz is good for their business, you can go to quizformybiz.com. That's quizformybiz.com. And take that quiz, and you will also be able to connect with me there. Or you can follow or find me on the podcast Kickstart the Conversation, and that's on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and so on. So look forward to hearing from you.
Beautiful. Well, thank you again to all our amazing speakers. We've actually reached the end of this event. So until next time, I'll see you another amazing event with another amazing panel. Each panel is so different because we're all very unique in the way that we approach our work. So thank you also for watching. And I also want to invite you to our community expert program here at our community, as my vision for impact is to reach 1 million purpose-driven entrepreneurs by 2025. Definitely aggressive visions, but we can absolutely get those visions of impact done with the collaboration and the support of one another. That's what it really is always about. So thank you again for coming, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time in another event. Bye, everybody. I would invite you to join us as the community expert at the Life School Global Community. As a community expert, you will be participating in our monthly speaking events that we host for our community. You'll be an ongoing contributor to our global magazine. You will be warmly connected and introduced to other purpose-driven CEOs and entrepreneurs. You'll also be connected to amazing speaking opportunities, paid and also free speaking opportunities with other amazing communities. And this way, you'll increase your brand and visibility. You will build trust faster. But most importantly, you'll be part of our community that's always growing in over 30,000 entrepreneurs on our social media channels, and also on our large contact list and network, and also with our partnering high-level communities of entrepreneurs and business leaders. I would like you to go right underneath the website on this video at Elona Lopari Coaching/events to find out more information on what this offer entails, and also if this is the right fit for you. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the other side as our community member.